Should be okay. You just wear two more clothes. I don't have one. I got that very thin. Thank you.
All right, I'm back. I am back. I'm back. I'm back in the saddle again. All right, let's see what else is going on in the news today. The news. Uh, Nothing interesting at all. Okay, I'll look at Reddit World News. This is where the real mind control happens here in the World News headlines. Ukraine rejects Putin call for Christmas truce. Okay. Oh, it's all the same shit. It's just all the news is just Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Spain rules tobacco companies must pay for cigarette butt cleanup. Good. That's fucking awesome. That's some like happy news for once. Spain is going to make tobacco companies pay to clean up cigarette butts. Why not, man? That's excellent. Good for you, Spain. Ukraine is getting M2 Bradley fighting vehicles. Of course they are. Oh god, it's horrible. New COVID strain is the most transmissible yet. Yeah, it's because it's the flu. Like, who gives a fuck, man? Like, how deadly is it? Does it kill people? Let's see what they want us to believe. The global health body is now trying to figure out how severe the subvariant is. Well, you better take another booster. What are we at now? Six? Six boosters? The most effective vaccine in the history of mankind. You need six boosters. What's up, man? Colipe? Oh, dude, I've never been to Colipe yet. That's on my list, actually. What's it like there? It looks. I saw a video of Gabriel Traveler in Colipe, and he was paying like 26 US dollars to sleep in a dormitory. I thought, holy shit, that's expensive. Like, Colipe must be an expensive place. I always got the idea that Colipe was like a lover's island, like a overpriced resort island or something. Do they have cheap bungalows there? I don't like spending more than $20 to sleep. I very, very rarely spend more than 20 bucks. Well, I've been traveling for like years, so honestly, I've never been in a resort. I like how you have broccoli. Roll with it. It's like cow sand packed on a small island. Whoa! So it's a part. It's a party island. Oh, cow sand. Cow sand is. Hmm, I don't know what I think about Khao San. You know, every time I go back to Bangkok, I always end up on Khao San Road. Even though people who travel a lot will make fun of it and they'll say, I never stay on Khao San Road. That's the tourist place. Yeah, but it's fun. Uh, but it's changed, hasn't it? Like, have you been to Khao San recently? They don't have, like, they changed that street. The government imposed some new rules and they don't allow the shops on the road anymore. They have to have sidewalk space and they pushed all the shops to the side and now there's no tourists there. You get like a trickle of tourists. It used to be packed from morning until night and now it's empty. At night they open the bars and it turns into a bit of a party again. But it's not the same. It used to have this sort of crazy backpacker vibe and it was just wild and it's not anymore. It kind of sucks. The Khao San area doesn't really have as much to offer as it used to since the pandemic and the junta government changed it. They imposed all these strict measures on the area and really destroyed the small businesses that were thriving on the street. Yeah. Oh, I like Koh Lanta. Yeah, I spent a few weeks on Koh Lanta, and I went to some really fun parties, and they were like chill, like pool parties, and not like Cow Sand Road nightclub parties, but like community parties. I would go to some hostels, and they would organize parties through the hostel because there weren't so many people on the island. I mean, other than locals doing their own thing, but backpackers. And so they would organize parties on like a Thursday night. Everybody would go to the same party, and that was really fun. And the water is so nice and clear, and they have those bioluminescence. And so I would like meet women on the island, and I would I'm such a dog, and I'd be like, you have to go swimming in the bioluminescence with me. It's so beautiful, and I would take people I met out to swim, and it was just so romantic. It was like Avatar. Have you seen Avatar? Great movie, by the way. Even though it's like a cliche plot that's been told a million times, I saw it in 3D, and it was just fantastic. So much fun. Just a dumb action movie, but it was really like an awesome action movie. Visuchi, will I travel to the Philippines after Vietnam? Yeah, I think I will actually. So I have to go to Thailand again because my mother is coming. She's never left the continent. No, she's been to Cuba, but my mom was said, "I'm gonna come wherever you are, Tony." She calls me Anthony. I'm gonna come wherever you are next year, and so I said, "Okay, just come to Thailand. That's like the easiest place to take a mom who doesn't have a lot of experience overseas traveling and stuff." So she's gonna come for 3 weeks, and then after that, I think I might go to the Philippines, and we'll see. The Philippines has really terrible internet, but they have so many beautiful islands, and everyone speaks English. And I think for YouTube content, a lot of YouTubers, their channels really took off when they went to the Philippines. The problem is that once you leave the Philippines, your channel dies, and that's the big problem with making travel content in the first place. Is that once you leave a country, all those people that you built up in your subscriber list, they stop watching your videos. But the Philippines, I've been there before. I was there in 2019, and I had a really great time. Actually, the problem I had with the Philippines was that there are so many islands, and every time I would land on a different island, I would rent a scooter, and then I would drive around the island, and I would have to return the scooter. And so I thought, okay, there's 7,000 islands in the Philippines, approximately. You could just hop from island to island to island. So I thought, okay, if I go back, maybe I'll buy a scooter, or yeah, because then I could just throw it on a ferry, go to the next island, drive around that island, go to the next one. And I saw this guy Lost LeBlanc. He did that. He just bought one. Now he's a millionaire. Oh, thank you. Yeah, he's a millionaire now from his travel channel. But he was one of the early adopters of YouTube travel vlogging, and he made his name in the Philippines. I don't know if the Filipinos are still as interested in what foreigners think of their country. One problem I have with the Philippines is I really don't care for the food too much. I hate to say it. Like Thai food is wonderful. Vietnamese food is great. Khmer, Cambodian, not so great, and Philippines, I'm not sure. But my stepmother is a Filipino. My dad married a Filipino. My brothers are half Filipino, and she's an amazing cook. Oh my God, she does this salmon. She gets a salmon and she bakes it with like tomatoes, and she adds a little bit of brown sugar, and man, she's like the most incredible cook. But I was so excited to go to the Philippines, and the food is all fast food. Like they don't have the pad thais and just the variety of dishes that Vietnam has. They have these fast food places where you just go and scoop the food out of a tray, kind of like Chinese food style, and a lot of it's just different variations of meat covered in sugar. Like, sorry if I'm offending any Filipinos, but what I lived on was barbecue chicken. I love the. I ate so many barbecue chicken dishes because I knew what I was getting. And Jollibee is garbage. Like I don't. It's just bullshit fast food. Uh, So I was not stoked on the food. There was a few dishes that I liked. I'm not saying it's like awful. And yeah, roll with it. Thailand is like my base. It's the first place I ever traveled overseas, and I always come back to it because yeah, it's touristic. People, oh, people will ask like, why do you always go back to Thailand? And it's because it's easy, and it's got anything you want. If you want a big city, you've got Bangkok. If you want a chill city, you have Chiang Mai. If you want islands and parties, you have Koh Phi Phi, Koh Phangan. If you want just to chill in nature and have no one fuck with you, and have a $5 a night bungalow in the jungle with like jungle creatures chirping and bioluminescent waters. You can do that for $5 a night. Like you can find that shit, 150 baht per night, and it's all in Thailand. And if you want to travel to Laos, Cambodia, even Bali, anywhere, it's really easy from Bangkok to get anywhere. It used to be really cheap. It's a bit more expensive now, thanks to um, things going on in the world. But I'm so glad to be back in Asia. And the thing I like about Asia too is, as a guy at least, it's different for women. It's so safe. Like you don't have to worry about being robbed. In Latin America, I was always looking over my shoulder all the time, thinking like, is this area safe? And there's places you just don't go at night, all over Latin America. Like you just don't go there at night. You will get fucked with, right? And that's not really the case in most of Southeast Asia. I heard in the Philippines, the Filipino cities are pretty sketchy. I will admit. I haven't been to Manila, but Cebu at night was a bit scary, man. I was walking home to my hostel once, and they had the worst hostels I've seen in the world. In I don't know. The cost of housing is higher in the Philippines, so maybe I was just being cheap. But I was staying in this really sketchy neighborhood in a really shitty hostel, and I was walking home from seeing some live music, and I got surrounded by like 15 Filipino prostitutes. I'm not even joking. They're just like, "Oh, hello, hello," and like grabbing my arm, and I was trying to be polite, like, "No, not interested, thank you." And they all put their hands on me, and I literally had to like fucking bust their arms off me and like get pissed off, be like, "Don't touch me." And they're like, that shit's never happened to me anywhere else in the world, um, where I had like so many like people come and put their hands on me. So, but outside of the city, well, the Philippines is a dream. It's amazing. The beaches and the islands are some of the most beautiful landscapes I've ever seen in my life. I'm really surprised it's not more popular. Yeah, and pricey. Khao is roll with it, just like Khao. Okay, and pricey. Oh yeah, Koh Lipe. I heard it's pricey. Link to Koh Lanta. Will I travel to the Philippines? Oh, I've read all this already. Gary, have you ever had any problems adjusting to hot tropical weather? Um, when you first arrive, if you're coming from like wintertime, um, getting off the plane, you'll feel this. Well, if you're not going into an air conditioned building right away, when you leave the air conditioning of the airport, that first wave will hit you, and it's so emotional in a way. Not like happy or sad, but it's such a state change that you can't forget it. I like literally remember it's imprinted on me the first time I went from Canada in December to Bangkok, and I got out of the airport and I was hit by this heat, like 31 degrees at night, and well, I don't remember the weather, but the smells and all of the sensations of this humid air, really, really humid air, and I'll never forget it. But it doesn't take you long to adapt to it, especially since almost everywhere has air conditioning in Asia. So if you want to escape the heat, you can. And right now it's not too hot. It's going to start getting hotter and hotter. I'm in Hanoi at the moment, and it's been really fucking cold. Like it was 7 degrees my first night in Hanoi. I knew it was chilly. I knew it was cooler. I didn't mind, but I didn't know it was going to be 7 degrees. It's not just the temperature being lower, but it's the high humidity. So it's like the air, the moisture is chilled, and it just gets right down to your bones, as they would say. But the hot weather, I love hot weather. I like sweating, man. I actually, you want to have electrolytes though. Make sure you get some electrolyte powders. You can buy them in any 7-Eleven in Thailand, or Gatorade type drinks. I like the stuff with no sugar, which is harder to find. You can get that no sugar shit all over Latin America, but it's harder to find in Thailand. But you can always get a coconut. Coconuts are high in electrolytes. You live in Cebu City. Yeah, so I spent Vespucci. What do you do in Cebu, Vespucci? Safety is okay as long as you stay in the right areas. Do you hear about robberies there in Cebu City? Do you ever hear about muggings of foreigners or anything like sexual assaults or weird shit that you would find? Because you know what? Like, it's funny that the only place in Southeast Asia that you hear about that stuff is in the big cities in the Philippines. And they are descendants of Latin Americans, apparently, aren't they? So my Latin American friend said it's in our blood. He's like the aggression, the I don't even know what the word is. I wouldn't say they're violent people. That's kind of mean, but they're hot blooded. You know, it's a hot blooded thing in the Filipinos as well, maybe. Most crimes are drug related. Yeah, they have a lot of drug problems in the Philippines. And that last president, not the one they have now, but Duarte, he started the war on drugs. And I actually heard it was horrible. People were getting their neighbors killed just by saying, "Oh, he's a drug dealer," and the local vigilantes would come and like take that guy in the night. So people were like killing off their enemies because the president said kill the drug dealers. Like he made open war on the drug dealers. But then I talked to Filipinos after, and they're like, "Oh, it's so much better now." Like, oh, it's so much better. How scary, but at the same time, effective, right? Imagine you live in like Australia, and the president just said, "Oh, if you know any drug dealers, just kill them." It would be like The Purge. Have you seen that movie, The Purge? You're planning to live here with your Filipino wife for 1 to 2 years, and you're originally from Switzerland. Lucky her, man. She got the Swiss passport. What do you do for work? A lot of men go to the Philippines to find love. I know my dad married a Filipino, but she was in Canada. He met her at a singles bar, and he used to always talk about like how hardworking she was and how lovable she was, and she's great. My stepmother she's insane. Like she, she's like so she smokes a lot of weed. My stepmother, and her brain is super hyperactive. But her and her Filipino friends, they're also hardworking and really great mothers, great cooks, very like industrious. And my stepmother is such a good business person. She at one point she owned like 3 properties in Canada, and she's still working full time as a nanny. She gets paid a lot actually as a nanny because she works for rich people and they fight over her, like who gets to have her as the nanny. And she keeps trying to retire, and they won't let her because she's too good at her work. My father is dead, by the way. He died when I was 21 years old. That's why I never mention him. My mother is still alive and kicking, and my stepmother is alive and kicking. I have 2 sisters, 2 brothers. Oh my God, someone could steal my information now if I ever get famous. You've been here for 4 months in Cebu City. I remember Cebu City was like, you go to one area, it's so dirty and scummy and scary, and then you go to just around the corner, it's all brand new malls, super nice and modern, and there would be police everywhere, and you could tell that the zoning was like, this is where the money is, this is where it's not. There was such a big distinction between rich and poor, and I mean you see that in all the cities in the developing world. In developing countries, you see that in the cities, but it's very pronounced in the Philippines. You're an online career coach, among other things. Hey, that's really interesting. I was a dating coach. I still am. Actually, I still have clients, but but I was a dating coach for 14 years. Isn't that funny? So I actually am a certified life coach, and I specialized in attraction, charm, how to talk to girls. I used to have a team of like 10 women that worked for me, and we would do Skype calls with clients, and they would have like virtual dates, and I would just coach their conversation. And it was expensive, man. Like I charged like 2,500 US for 4 phone calls, and I had clients that paid it gladly. I got tired of it though. I started moving into spirituality, became more interested in spirituality, and now I'm more interested in entrepreneurial stuff like building businesses online and shit like that. So I've been thinking about doing some YouTube. I'm actually doing freelance copywriting at the moment, a lot of that, and some YouTube. I'm also writing a novel. You're probably like me, just anything you can do to not be a slave. Just any kind of work you can do to not have to be imprisoned in a job you hate. Gary, I've heard it was. Is this Gary G? You Gary from Canada? I have a friend named Gary from Canada. I've heard it was easier for large age gap relationships in the Philippines than in other Southeast Asian countries. Is this true from what you've seen? Well, everywhere, um, the older you get, the less likely younger women are going to want to date you. But it doesn't mean you can't get a younger girlfriend, especially in Southeast Asia. It doesn't matter as much to the women here. But if you're doing online dating and you put your age as like 45 years old, and you're say you're swiping Tinder looking for like 20-year-olds, you're not going to match with many, because most people with online, and this is what most people do to meet people, is they will look for their ideal match. So you as a man, you're going to want like an attractive woman in your preferred age range. Now, if you're 45 and you're looking for 45-year-old women, you're going to have as many dates as you want, unlimited, honestly. Like everyone's going to be like, but finding people that speak English is difficult. That's why in the Philippines it's easier, because there's a high population of English speaking. Everyone speaks English, and so you can actually communicate with people there. So I don't think like most women don't mind dating older guys. It's just what I think what the thing is that they think about their future. They're like, if I'm gonna have kids with this guy and he's 45 and I'm 25, when I'm 35, he's gonna be 55, and so that's the problem with online dating, is like the imagination starts running. But when you get in front of somebody, if you're articulate, you dress well, you look good, you're in shape, you're active, and they don't care. They won't care how old you are. It's just when you're like a gross nerd, you're fat, you dress like a geek. Um, you're not going to get these hot young girls. That this is like a myth. It's like a myth. You're going to go to some foreign country and get 10 out of 10s. What's going to happen is, if you don't have already like a confidence about you, you're going to get taken. You're going to get taken for everything. Literally, my iPhone's broken. Can you send me $1,000? Oh, sure, baby. The shit happens every day to dum-dums in Thailand. Gary from Kansas. Sorry to hear about your dad dying. Oh, no worries, man. I mean, that was a long time ago, so I was way over it. That had to be tough. You're 62 and still have both your parents. Oh, that's great, man. Do they get along? Are they still together? Uh, because in my generation, there is like a 75% divorce rate. Nobody's together anymore. People that still have their parents together, it's like very impressive. What else? Did I miss any comments here? Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me. I don't do live streams often enough, but I find them quite fun. I don't always have purpose, like, so it's really helpful when you engage with me. Where are you guys going this year? Are you traveling at all? Does anybody have big plans for 2023? I am working on a science fiction novel. If you don't know, I'm a way better writer than I am at public speaking. Actually, that's how I made my living for the last, like, I don't know, 15 years. Not directly through writing, but like writing in general has brought me money because I'm good at it. Yeah. So, what do you guys do for money? What do you do for work right now? And are you happy with it? Vespucci, you're coaching? That's really interesting. What do you do, Gary? You're retired? So, about girls in the Philippines, I met some really nice people in the Philippines and some weird situations, because there is very low income in that country if you're not in the like big city in a certain area. If you go out of there, you're always going to meet people like Filipinos will meet you and they'll be like, "Oh, are you married?" And it's almost always the first thing they ask. And right away, because Filipinos are so family oriented, they start thinking, "Who can I hook this guy up with?" Right away. Like I would, and they want to be your friend. Like Filipinos are, I think, like Asians in general are so friendly. It's just they seem shy if they don't speak English. But in the Philippines, because everyone speaks English, you make friends. Like it's almost hard not to make friends. It's actually annoying in a way because I'm a pretty individualistic kind of dude, and in the Philippines, everybody wanted me to like join their family right away. Like, where are you from? Canada. Oh, that's so cool. Come to dinner with my family, and you get invited out with the family a lot. And then right away, if you say yes, you'll go there, and there'll be some woman there, and you're like, "Who's this lady?" And they're like, "This is our friend Katie," and nudge, 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 and everyone's always trying to hook you up with someone they know because they want their friends to hook up with a foreign guy and get the fuck out of the Philippines, right? Or something like that. So it's kind of ridiculous, and it is very easy to hook up with a woman in the Philippines. And if you're older, yeah, no problem. But you don't want to be the creepy dude sitting in the expat bar hitting on the bartenders and bragging about how easy it is to get pussy in the Philippines. Because yeah, there's a lot of these like sex pack guys, and I met a lot of like creepy dudes, and um, you're not going to meet the high quality women that way from bars, like expat bars and stuff like that. Traveling to some places in the Philippines, and I will be in Europe for a few weddings too. Hey, Vespucci, where did you meet your wife? Were you introduced by friends, or did you get her from meet her on online dating or something? They're still together, but they fight like cats and dogs. Travel lover. Hi, Tony. You like listening to me because I sound intelligent and give good advice. Hey, thanks. I like to consider myself intelligent. I wish I was more intelligent, though. Sometimes I stumble over my words, or I get caught in a brain cloud. And some of the people I admire are really amazing public speakers. I listen to quite a few inspirational guys, like Jordan Peterson. I used to really be into him. I don't listen to him as much anymore. There's this guy, Leo Babuda from actualize.org, a weird looking guy. He looks like my friend Barry, the like computer nerd from high school, but he's very intelligent. He's a weird guy. He claims to be enlightened. He's such a great public speaker. And Infinite Waters. There's this channel called Infinite Waters I watch. I really like Alan Watts. He's dead now, but he was a Buddhist philosopher. And I just like reading a lot of books. And I think if you read a lot of books, you can't help but sound intelligent because you are what you eat. So if you spend all day just swiping through social media, it can be entering. I'm not saying you do, but this is what most people do nowadays. Just social media all day long, watching movies and stuff like that, and then they have nothing to say. Especially with my dating clients, they're like, "I just don't know what to say." It's like, yeah, but yet you can talk to your friend for 6 hours about all sorts of topics. Why can't you talk to a woman? And usually it's because they don't have good fuel for their brain. So I always make sure I try to read like an hour a day, which sounds hard to a lot of, oh, it's so hard. It's like, no, not really. Once you develop that muscle. And I used to read 30 to 50 books a year. Like I kept a online profile on Goodreads.com, and I was reading 30 to 50 books a year, and I didn't finish all of them. But I think that's one of the reasons why I'm well versed in a variety of subjects. But I'm terrible at math, not because I don't understand math, but because it never ignited that passionate fire inside of me the way psychology does or politics does. I'm not so interested in science. I'm not so interested in like biology and things that a lot of men are interested in. A lot of men are very interested in logical paths. Like they like to read nonfiction books. I like to read fiction books. I read a lot of fiction because I think reading fiction intellectually is very, very valuable, incredibly valuable. And a lot of people don't, a lot of men don't realize that. Women do because women are really interested in people. Women are very interested in being inside of another person's state of mind and understanding how they think. Men are more interested in like how things work. How do systems work? And I'm interested in that too, but I think because I was so interested in that other aspect of that other intellectual aspect of things, like the spiritual stuff too, that I could talk about things that a lot of men haven't spent a lot of time researching. So I sound smart because I know these things or something. I don't know. Gary, you've watched a lot of Leo and Alan Watts. Oh man, Leo's great. I mean, there's some shit that annoys me about him, like it's just nerdy things about him. But I listen. I put that aside, those feelings of like, oh, the guy's a nerd, and I actually listen to him, and I listen to his 2-3 hour long podcast some days, and I come out of it with so much value. He's such a well-spoken, well-researched guy. But he's not funny. That's the thing. He studied pickup and he studied the game and all that stuff, and he talks about that, and I knew it right away. I'm like, this is a pickup guy. And a lot of guys who are now like gurus of whatever marketing or they're experts at spirituality, they started off with dating stuff. A lot of young guys got into dating and they ended up learning crazy social skills or getting into philosophy and evolving into something else from there. It's interesting, that whole movement. Gary, that's funny about the Philippine people trying to hook you up. Yeah. Travel lover. I came across your channel like a year ago when you were doing research on Medellin, and your safety advice was the best I found. Oh, thanks. Was it that video, the dangers of dating in Colombia? So it's funny because on my channel I complain sometimes. Like most people found my channel through um, danger videos, like because people want to know, is this place safe? Is Medellin safe? And they look that up and they find me, or they did until this fucking guy, this other YouTuber, stole my headline. I had 32,000 views on that video. It was a live stream. I literally just winged it. I make some notes when I do the talks, and he stole my headline exactly. Is Colombia dangerous? If you look it up right now, you'll see him. What's his fucking name? And he got like 100,000 views on that video. Pissed me off. It's called SEO. It's search engine optimization. So if you're doing any kind of internet work, you're gonna look up. God, my thumbnail looks terrible, man. I look like fat and pasty. I gotta be more careful when I take pictures of myself. Is Medellin dangerous? I'm looking it up on YouTube right now. Or is Colombia safe? I can't remember what it was. No, I'll put in dating danger in Colombia. Dating danger, Colombia. I was talking about scopolamine, which is a huge problem in Colombia. The dangers of dating in Colombia for men. So this fucking guy, Life with David, who has 32,000 subscribers, I wrote, my headline was the dangers of dating in Colombia with brackets, exclamation points, or quotation marks for men. He copied that exact headline. He obviously saw my channel was doing well with this, and he knew because he had more subscribers and he's based in Medellin. All his videos are about Medellin. He could steal it. So that now has 960,000 views. He probably made $1,000 off that video that I would have made. Not that money is everything, but he stole it. And I mentioned that a few times in his comments, like, fuck you, man. You know what you did. He's never even he's acknowledged I exist once because I talked to him once online. He knew who I was, and he just stole it. Very low character. Low character. You know, I always try to play fair in life. I try not to rip people off or lie to people or scam people or hurt anybody. And when you do stuff like that, you know, that will come back to you. That will come back to bite you in the ass. Because, so for example, he goes and he steals my headline and uses it for a short-term gain. But in the long run, as for example, as my influence increases, what if I get famous? Which could happen any day. You know, something could go viral. I've got a video right now that's getting like 250 views an hour or something. I get more subscribers. And I can go, you know what? Life with David, fuck that guy. He's I can talk bad about him, and it could really hurt his brand because he did something, you know, of low character, a low character maneuver. And so I've met lots of these kind of people in my life doing business who would just try to do something scammy in the short term to steal something from the competition. And in the long run, now you've got that one person talking bad about you can really hurt your brand over the course of your lifetime. Yeah. So whenever you're about to do that skeezy thing, think twice about it. Non-duality. So Leo, yeah, I've seen Leo talking about non-duality, but I'm not exactly sure what non-duality is. I haven't watched those videos. But I have a guess that non-duality has something to do with the state of reality. Like, tell me what non-duality is. Maybe I'll have to watch a video now because I'm not well versed on the terminology. Yeah, so a lot of people find my channel when they're looking for information on if a place is safe or the dating stuff or drugs. Now it's my marijuana videos, my danger videos. So you've got YouTubers now. Oh, there's a bunch of people that just walked in. Let me know if it gets too loud. I'm going to have to speak up. Maybe I'll find a quieter place. Look at all the tourists here. All tourists. Anyway, it's like lower states of consciousness, right? Fear, lust, and greed. And these are the things that YouTube wants you to, obviously, that's what YouTube wants you to create because that's what's getting traffic. So you look at some of these guys like Kurtz, there's a travel guy named Kurtz, something. I don't know. You see them all the time if you're looking up travel content. Oh, dude, thanks for the tip, traveler. So you see all this content on YouTube that's aimed at your lower consciousness emotions, fear, lust, and greed. So danger, is this city dangerous, or like how to get laid in this city, or how to make money in this country, or what's the cheapest place to travel here or there, or like where to buy weed, and I understand because part of being human is enjoying the, like, how do I put it this way, the higher level aspects, the higher consciousness aspects of reality, like self-improvement, love, reaching ambition and stuff. And then there's the lower consciousness stuff, which is like pleasure, food, sex, easy life, cheap life, and that stuff is actually part of the human experience as well. And it's fun. But I've been through so much of that. Like when I was in my 20s and mostly in my 30s, I was so debaucherous. I slept with so many women. I did a lot of drugs. I drank a lot of alcohol, and I didn't hurt too many people, but like I did the whole pickup artist thing for years, and I got really good at it to the point where I could teach it to people. And now I look back on that, and I don't regret any of it. But I don't really want to put more of that into the world. I want to create stuff that lifts people up to become better, including myself. I want to be better. And it's hard to set the bar that high and get people's attention because you have to be really good. And there's a lot of competition on YouTube and in the literature space from people who are experts at this sort of stuff. One thing that bugs me about these like self-help gurus is that they never show weakness. And I know Leo, once he gets off his live stream, he's not this enlightened dude that he claims to be. Like I think he's very intelligent and he's obviously very wise, but I'm sure he still has vices. I'm sure he still gets depressed. I'm sure he still gets angry or has lower consciousness ways of expressing himself in life. But these guys on YouTube never talk about that. You can't show weakness if you want to start a guru brand, Like I can't be like, you know what, guys, today I slept in till 11 p.m. Um, I had a bit of a hangover because I drank too many Leos last night, and I'm kind of sad because the chick on Tinder isn't texting me back. And then when she did, I found out she was a prostitute. Now let's meditate and become enlightened. Right? But I've met a lot of these fucking guys, and a lot of these guys from the dating sphere who claim to be like, oh, like these higher consciousness dudes are actually very, very flawed people and very emotionally distressed people a lot of the times, but they've mastered certain areas of their life. So I'm still wrestling with that in my own life. So Travel Lover gave me like $10. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. This is to appreciate you in that video. Because of you, I'm glad I never went to Medellin, but I made it to Cartagena. Oh, well, in the video, I did say, like, don't neglect going to Medellin. Just don't be a dumbass on Tinder. Almost all the guys who are getting scopolamine are meeting women on Tinder. And but I had a roommate I lived with for a month there, and he was just there to fuck. Like that's literally all he was there was to do was drink alcohol, live cheap off his Bitcoin investments, and have sex with easy women off Tinder. And he told me he had slept with like 30 or 40 women in 1 year off Tinder, and then he got scopolamines on like number 40. Right? You're asking for it if you're living life like that. The thing is I used to be a dog like that too, but I made a rule for myself. I wasn't going to hook up with women. I wasn't willing to make my girlfriends. So if I don't think I could fall in love with her, I don't want to date her. That's just the way I am now. She's got to not only be beautiful, but she has to be intellectually challenging for me. And men who are living this kind of lifestyle in Medellin, they don't care about anything except getting another notch. And actually, I don't even want to judge anyone for doing that because I think that's a very valid life experience every man should have. It's just having a lot of sexual experiences. Women do it too. If you hang out with backpackers and you meet women who are traveling alone, young women, they're getting laid in every city that they go to, every beach town they go to. Trust me. But you're asking for trouble. And there's just a lot of these dumb old guys. Oh, hey, Chris Killfax. Well, I have a video. If one of you guys might link to it, it's called Dating Danger in Colombia, the dangers of dating for men in Colombia. And I talk all about scopolamine. But you can look it up. Just look this up. Scopolamine. Wow, it's getting loud in here, guys. And it's a drug that grows naturally all around Colombia, and when it's refined, the drug doesn't grow, the plant grows, but when the plant is refined, it creates this drug called scopolamine, which has no scent, no taste, and can be dropped in a drink or blown in your face, or there's a lot of ways they can get it into your bloodstream, and it makes you a zombie. No one knows you're high because you don't really show symptoms, but you just trust everybody. And people, like women can be like, hey, what's your crypto accounts passwords? And you'll be like, sure, friend. And you'll just give them your crypto account passwords. You'll give people your bank card. You'll go to the bank machine and just empty your bank account. And you don't remember a thing, and no one knows that you're high. It's a really scary drug, and it's a big problem in Colombia. A big problem in Latin America, actually. It's spreading. So Vice did a documentary about it a few years ago, Vice magazine, and that's when I first heard about it. It was called Devil's Breath. Devil's Breath. And I think because of that documentary, all the scammers in Latin America heard about it. So it actually increased in usage. But if you're smart, if you're not like totally dumb, you are going to be okay. Like, it's still dangerous though. Like in those cities, if you're dating, you gotta really. I talk about it all in the video. You know, it's a live stream, so you won't find it in my videos. I'll just link to it here. I might as well. The dangers of dating in Colombia for men. Here it is. I tell you how to protect yourself, and if you go to Colombia, there you go. There's the link. But I don't want people to like not go to Colombia or think Cartagena is any safer. I mean, Cartagena has the same problems, just not to the same degree because there's more foreigners going to Medellin. Non-duality, Gary. Non-duality is a philosophy which says that there is one eternal spirit in existence and that everything in the universe is an inseparable part of it. I 100% agree with that. And that's been my belief for many years. I started forming that philosophy, I think, in my 30s. I was dealing with a lot of fear in my life and some depression. And I wasn't sure why. And a lot of it had to do with fear. I was afraid of dying, afraid of living, and I had a lot of fear. And I was trying to figure out how to deal with this fear. And so I started looking into spiritual answers. And organized religion didn't really do it for me. But there was this new age stuff, and they were saying like, oh, we're all one energy. And it was really Alan Watts. I somehow, my searching somehow led me to Alan Watts. And Alan Watts led to Osho and Sadhguru. I've been listening to Sadhguru. He's really fantastic. And YouTube gurus and stuff like that. And then I found out about what's that stuff? DMT, which is, a very interesting subject. I started watching videos. I've never done DMT. I've never done ayahuasca, but it really started researching that really caused me to ask the question, like, what is life after death? And that answered a lot of questions for me. Yeah, non-duality. So what else am I going to talk about today? It's finally sunny. Oh my God, it's been cloudy for 5 days in Hanoi, and today I'm actually going to meet a Filipino girl that I met on Tinder. She's in a different part of the city, and she's looking, as she says, for a serious relationship. And I told her, well, I'm only here for a month, but I really just want someone to hang out with. I thought she was Vietnamese. And she said, I'm not Vietnamese. But she lives here. She teaches English. And so I'm going to go hang out with her and maybe make a video because I'm going to a different area. I really wanted a Vietnamese girl to travel around with me. I've had a hard time meeting one. I don't know why. When I was here before, it was so easy. And now I think it's because I'm older and on my profile, I use my real age. And I hate to say it, I just don't have any interest in 45-year-old women. I don't mind talking to them. I'm just not sexually attracted to them. It's a problem, I guess. At least I'm not a pedophile, but I like younger women. So she's in her 20s and I think her late 20s, and we're gonna go hang out and I'll maybe make a video. But I wanted a Vietnamese girl to help me with the Vietnamese content and stuff like that. I'll do what I can. The ethnic traveler. Oh, hey, bro. You're going to be in Vietnam in February. Awesome. Well, I won't be here in February, unfortunately. I'll be in Thailand. Oh, actually, I might be back in Vietnam or the Philippines in February. I'm here till the end of this month. No, February I'm going to be in Thailand because my mother is coming to Thailand and I have to meet her I'm excited to meet her. I don't have to. It's gonna be fun. I'm traveling with my mom for 3 weeks, so I'll put her in a video. She's dying to be in a video. She loves that I make YouTube videos. I think your parents are just happy if you're doing anything other than just existing. Like parents love to see you creating or working, and women love nothing more than to see men work. And so, if making a content on YouTube, it's work in a way. It's doing something. They just don't want to see you just sitting around playing video games, jerking off, whatever, doing nothing with your life. So she's so excited to be in a video. Gary, um, yes, it cured my depression as well. It ended my mental suffering. You mean the spiritual stuff or ayahuasca? Or do you mean like intellectual, philosophical concept of non-duality? Ethnic traveler, though, keep in touch, man. I would totally be into doing something if we cross paths. Chris Kilfax. That would be cool traveling with your mom. Not everyone gets a chance to do that. Yeah, you know what? I should have done it years ago. I should have just bought her a ticket to wherever I was. But, I'm glad it's happening now. I'm glad it's happening now. We had a scare. We thought she had cancer, and she doesn't have cancer. The doctors told her she had cancer, and then she called the whole family. I have cancer. I'm gonna die. And then a few months later, just a prank, bro. Just a prank. So she's okay. She had to have some work done, though. She had a problem, but it's fixed now, and she's coming. So I'm really grateful to see my mother, the mom. I call her the mom. Actually, I talked to her. When I talked to her, through text, I'm even like, "What is the mom doing today?" I'm still pretty immature. It's good to still have your mom around. Yeah, so I'll do that today. Maybe I'll make some content because it's sunny. And the GoPro is just absolutely terrible. I really regret now having a GoPro. GoPros are great if you're in a tropical sunny place and you want to go swimming. But if I could go back, I would probably go and get a DJI Osmo because they look so good at night. And a lot of the interesting stuff that I want to film is happening in the evenings now, at night. And the GoPro is terrible at night. See, I want to do videos about like spiritual stuff, but I'm not that into it. Like, I'm into it, but not like the guys on YouTube who are experts with it. Like, I can't freestyle about spiritual concepts the way I can about, say, travel or dating. Like, if you ask me any questions about dating, I could just riff for hours because I spent so much of my life studying that subject and talking about it. I used to think it was so important. Like, getting laid was the most important thing in the universe for me for so many years. And now I'm finding other subjects, but nothing catches on to men's interest quite like sex and women. I'm not bored of talking about it. It's just I don't see it as being the most important thing in my life anymore. I still like women and stuff, but I don't put nearly as much effort into it as I used to. Travel lover, you're planning a trip to Asia to mingle with young pretty girls. Where would you advise a young guy like me to hang out with ladies under 25? How old are you? Travel lover. You say a young guy like you. I can't remember. Didn't you say you're 60? Or was that someone else? If you want to meet women in Asia, there in Vietnam, there's a website called You're 30? Well, you're prime real estate, bro. Um, it used to be back in the day, you could come here and take a selfie and throw it on an online dating site like Vietnam Cupid. The Cupid network is really good, actually, if you want to find a girlfriend rather than just a hooker. Because Thailand, if you use Tinder, you're going to find almost all ladyboys and prostitutes. I'm not kidding. You'll match with so many women, but when I do Tinder, I don't have time to look at right and left. I just swipe everything, Right. I don't even look at it. I just do this. And then I just look at the matches I get. Or I pay for the upper tier subscription that just shows you who likes you. But I find it doesn't work well. Like it doesn't show you everyone who's liked you. So the only option you have is to swipe everything. And you just match with tons of ladyboys and prostitutes. And so in Vietnam, I tried Tinder here. Have not had much luck. Honestly, a lot of prostitutes they'll say like, "Hey, are you on WhatsApp or are you on Zillow?" And then they will pitch you their prices and stuff. But not OkCupid, Vietnam Cupid is very popular, or Thai Cupid. I don't know if there's a Filipino Cupid, but you have to pay $40, and so it weeds out a month Canadian. So it's like $30 a month, and it weeds out a lot of the guys who are too cheap to pay it. And you don't have as many options as Tinder, but the women on there are going to be vetted. They're not all going to be prostitutes and ladyboys and stuff like that. And I actually had some success meeting people off that network. So Cupid, it's in the chat. Vietnam Cupid, Thai Cupid, or holy, it's getting loud. Or a day game. Go to malls and just find the guts to approach people. Your biggest problem is going to be finding women who speak English. Uh, I've been going to English meetups on meetup.com, not just to meet women, but like because I like to hang out with locals who speak English and make friends with them. So I'm staying for a long time in these places. So meetup.com and look for like the English language meetup groups and make friends with the locals and just tell them, hey, I want to meet some girls. And the guys will hook you up. The girls will hook you up. I know somebody. And you can tell them, like, look, I want someone who's good looking. I don't want your friend who's been single for 6 years because she's out of shape and nasty and stupid. Or that's kind of harsh. But, like, just be honest with people and they can help you. People will be glad to help you. It wouldn't be like that in Canada. Like, in Canada, if I'm like, hey, I want to meet somebody, like, you say that, and people will go and find the most unattractive person that they know who hasn't had a date in 6 years and try to hook you up. It's like, no. I never do the matchmaking thing because my standards are way too high. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I've dated some of the most beautiful women you could possibly imagine because I worked for years on my social skills and my confidence so I could. I've been rejected by more women than most men will ever approach in their life, just so I can be with some beautiful, smart women. I gotta change rooms; it's too loud. Tuck patrol. Yeah, dude, if you're 30, man, you can do the online dating, get really good pictures. Like, hire a professional because like selfies don't work anymore. You can't just do like a selfie and expect to have any results at all. You gotta make yourself look super cool because men are so good at online dating now. So you don't have as much competition here, and you stand out already if you're a foreigner. Make yourself look adventurous and make yourself look cool, or they'll just left on you. They have too many options. Right now, if you're a woman, online dating is perfect for you. You might meet a lot of players, but you're gonna have your choice of the litter. The world is your oyster if you're a woman with online dating. Here we go. It's nice and quiet down here. Oh, hello. What were you looking at?
Oh, I was just sticking a note on there.
Oh, you found a note? Where do you get the note?
You can just get them here. Like, there are notes everywhere here.
Oh, okay.
So there as well.
Are you British?
No, I'm not. I'm German.
You sound British.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm live streaming.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Hello, everyone.
So a real German woman.
Yeah, German woman.
In Vietnam. There's a lot of Germans here.
Yeah, there are. I think, yeah. Yeah,
because
Germans
it's
are
like,
everywhere, I guess.
yeah, Germans are everywhere in the world.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I don't want to see them anymore, to be honest. I go to the end of the world to not see them. In the end, I go.
Good luck. They're going to be at the end of the world waiting for you with some sauerkraut.
Yeah, yeah, that's an issue. Well, have fun.
See you later. All right, I got the couch. I like Germans. German girls are so beautiful. Why is this? Why is your comment is held for review? Show. Tuk Tuk Patrol. What? I wonder, Chris Kilfax, that picture of the Tuk Tuk was held for review. YouTube thought it was going to be offensive. That's hilarious that you have a Tuk Tuk emoji. Yeah. Whenever I see German girls, I have to speak with them because they're so good looking. I heard a lot of good things about the DJI cameras, and you learned enough about spirituality, but you usually don't talk about it much. It doesn't go over well with most people. Yeah, like when I first started getting into the non-duality stuff, the spirituality stuff, I came to this conclusion that none of this is real. It's all an illusion, and I am a god on vacation as a human being. Like that's my philosophy on what reality is. And whenever I get too stressed out about life, oh, I need more money, or I need to get a girlfriend, or I'm not happy with my body or something, I just check myself and I go like, look, this is a game I'm playing. This is like Grand Theft Auto Human Edition. And when I die, it's going to be fucking awesome. I don't want to die. I'm not going to commit suicide, but I get to travel the astral planes with infinite possibilities and then come back as a living being in some other reality. And so I get less stressed out because I'll take this life a little bit less seriously. It'll become a little bit less stressful when I have that philosophy in mind. But when I talk to people who aren't into that sort of philosophy of life, or they look at you like you're crazy. Like people in my family, I had told them like, none of this is real, and they say, no, this is real. What are you talking about? And it's hard to communicate that with someone who's done hallucinogenic drugs in their life. When you start playing with hallucinogenic drugs, I did LSD when I was 15 years old, and I was like, oh, there's a bit more to this reality than meets the eye, you know. But then the whole I checked out a bunch of different religions. I even read the Old Testament, and Buddhism was the only one that really connected with me. But I'm not a Buddhist, and I still think that's an organized religion. But a lot of the Buddhist philosophies made sense to me, like especially the just philosophical concepts, like how you should laugh at your hardships. Just have a chuckle about it because people get so worked up about such petty things, and sometimes you just have to laugh. And the idea that the ego is all the human mind really is. And once you learn to master your ego, life becomes a whole lot easier. I mean, that's a lifelong journey right there, just to master your own ego and your own emotions. And I just didn't find Christianity. A lot of my friends have become born again Christians, and Christianity, I'm sorry, just doesn't do it for me. Like, there's too many limitations, there's too many rules, and I don't think if a God, like one all powerful being that like was enforcing its will upon this reality, it wouldn't have so many rules and limitations. Whereas Buddhism doesn't have that philosophy. It's like, look, you can make anything of this life that you want to, but you're going to have to pay for your decisions in your next life. And I like this idea of circles and waves. Like Alan Watts says, this is what reality is. He hits a bell, bong. He's like, that's reality. Everything is a wave. Everything is an up and a down and on and an off, across from the smallest quantum particle to the solar system to anything that the human mind can even comprehend. It's all a wave. It's all up and down, on and off, and that makes so much sense. Everything works that way, right? So if you guys are at all interested in spirituality or figuring out what all of this stuff is, I highly suggest starting with Alan Watts. It changed my life, especially when I get stressed out and fearful. You know what used to scare me was nuclear war. Whenever there's like a nuclear war scare, North Korea, Trump sending his ships out to North Korea or dropping missiles on Iran, that freaked me out. Or Russia threatening to nuke everybody because of this, that kind of shit. I would get really stressed out about it, and I go back to my gurus. I go back to Alan Watts or Osho, and I read this book called Fear, Osho, one of the best books I've ever read. And in the first paragraph, Osho says, "So, are you afraid of nuclear war?" He goes, "What? You think you're going to be alone?" I just laughed. That's so true. Like, are you the only one? Are you going to be alone? Like, oh my God, the world is ending. Everyone else is going to have the world ending with them, along with them. And when you die, it's just the beginning of another adventure. I'm not going to be sitting up on a cloud. That's too limited. There's no heaven or hell. I don't believe in that. I just think that you're here on this earth to learn about the human experience, and that's it. That's the only point of being here. And you got to play the game of being a human the best you can, and hopefully you're healthy and strong so that you can do what you need to do. And if you're born with no legs, that sucks, but that's the experience you're supposed to have for whatever reason. Maybe there's no reason. That's just the game that you're playing, and I like that philosophy. It gives me a lot of comfort. Gary, good way to lose friends. Yeah, well, talking about politics is a good way to lose friends, man. Being a guy who didn't think Trump was so bad, and who thinks that most mainstream news is propaganda. Most people don't even know what propaganda is, and thinking that vaccines are dangerous. I don't have popular views, and I've lost a lot of friends because of those three things. A lot of friends, people who I grew up with, stopped talking to me because of those views. It's so silly. They don't, and like people don't want to debate that or question it. Maybe even looking back, like my views on Donald Trump, like who cares? I don't even give a shit about Donald Trump anymore. It's such a dumb game to get involved in politics. But people get so worked up over stupid shit like that. Like, you know, travel lover show. Travel lover. Let me clarify. I am looking for the young 18 to 22-year-old hottest girls of Asia, and I don't mind if they're prostituting. Oh, okay. I'm willing to pay for their time. Oh man, well anywhere. I don't know. I'm not judging if somebody wants to do that. I've never paid for sex. It's not that hard to get for free, but I have considered it more and more as like a human experience. Like I have moral issues with it for my own karma. Like I feel like if someone has to sell their body, then they're not going to be in a good place in their life. And if I'm paying them, sure, I could be helping them monetarily. I don't feel like it's pure attraction, and I'm really into attraction. I like feeling like a woman is attracted to me. And if she's attracted to me and then I help her with some money, I don't mind that at all. But I don't like feeling like I have to pay for someone's attraction. But then I get really messed up when I start contemplating this sort of philosophy too, because what is value, right? Like say you're a famous YouTuber or some spiritual guru, and I've been popular in the past. I've been in the arts. I've been in bands. I remember when I was in a band. I was the singer in a band in my 20s, and we got moderately popular. Not huge, but popular enough that women became interested in me, and I was always invisible to women. Like they didn't care. Like a lot of men, we're just invisible until you stand out. You have to know how to stand out. And then when I got in the band, I remember women started wanting to meet me and talk to me, and I felt vindictive towards them. Like, oh, now you like me. Now that you know I'm talented, and I practiced making music every day for 4 years. every day in my room playing my guitar, screaming into a microphone, trying to figure out how to make music because I wanted to make music, but mostly because I was lonely and I wanted to meet women. And now the women like me. Fuck you. That was my ego. So why not just give them what they want? And what they wanted was to be around a cool guy, a guy who was popular, a guy who would give them adventure, a guy who would give them status. And I hated that. I thought it was so lame. And now I'm like, well, what's the difference between giving that to a woman or giving her some money? Money, enjoy yourself, have sex with me. I don't think it's. But now, if she's a drug addict or she's a single mother and she needs to feed her kids, I don't know if I feel good about giving her money because of that. But if you want that, just Google it, man. There's loads of websites telling you where to find that kind of stuff, and there's massage parlors everywhere. Oh, you can't hear me. Oh, am I back? Can you hear me?
By now, I see those photos.
Check, 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 check. 1 2 1 2. Check, check. So I don't know if the stream is still going because apparently you guys can't hear me. Check, check, check. Oh yeah, my microphone's not picking anything up.